Hi guys, this is Bosco. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing another top 10 songs video. I wanted to do this a couple days ago because it would have made more sense, but I was really busy this past week, so I have time to do this today. So today we're going to be doing top 10 songs of one of my favorite musicians of all time. Obviously, he was part of my favorite band of all time, the Beatles, but he had a really great solo career, and that is George Harrison. The reason I wanted to do this a couple days ago is because on Monday, I believe it was Monday, on November 29th, it's been 20 years since we lost George Harrison, and George was just, we all know George from the Beatles, obviously, because he had, I think in the last couple of years of the Beatles' career, George was coming out with some of his best material. He did a lot of good stuff in the beginning, but in the right at the end, around the Abbey Road era, he and the White Album era, he'd been releasing and writing some of his best material, in my opinion. And he had a lot of songs that he wrote during the White Album sessions that would become of All Things Must Pass, the album. And he had a lot of phenomenal songs that really the rest of the guys just rejected. Uh, and even not just the All Things Must Pass album, but he had a lot of great albums after that. He didn't have a lot of albums. He After he released All Things Must Pass, which is a huge album, kind of released other albums in the '70s, which I thought were great, but weren't really as successful as that album. And then in the '80s, he was kind of releasing some stuff here and there sporadically, and then he releases Cloud Nine in the '80s, and that was another big album that got him back on top. And then he or he forms the Traveling Wilburys along with Bob Dylan, Jeff Lynne of ELO, Tom Petty from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Roy Orbison. And they disbanded after Roy Orbison passed away. And then throughout the '90s, they were doing the George, Paul, and Ringo, the remaining at the time the remaining members of the Beatles that were alive, worked on the Beatles anthology, which was a series talking about the Beatles' career. And then a few years later, George develops lung cancer, and then eventually in 2001 passes away from that. And then a year later, he releases his or posthumously released final album, Brainwashed, is released, and I think that's another really good album. So that's really what his career is all about. I think he had a phenomenal solo career. I think Paul had everyone talks about Paul McCartney's solo career being the best, and I'm probably in that majority. I love his solo career a lot. That was an episode we did earlier this year on his solo career. But you got to give credit to George because he had a lot of really great material that he had its fans, but not a lot of people talked about it much. So here we go. So this list was really difficult. A good, well, some of the songs on this list mainly come from one album. You probably know what that album is, but I do have some stuff from other albums that I have included on here. So without further ado, let's get into this list. So coming in at number 10, I had another tie. I need to stop doing these ties, but I could not have a list without these two songs, and I had to figure out which one do I like more. I can't decide, so it comes to another tie. So I know it gets annoying a lot, but hey, it happens. And my number 10 is a tie between the song from 33 and a Third, which is kind of a more funky or soul album. Well, no, it was more of a funky album, and a song from Cloud Nine, which is his big comeback album. The song from 33 and a Third is Crackerbox Palace, which I absolutely love. I can't live without that song. And from Cloud Nine is one of the more popular songs, a cover that he actually did called "I Got My Mind Set on You." Another popular song. Very weird video, if anyone remembers the music video of that. But I love both of these songs. I mean, Crackerbox Palace, it's silly, but I just love it. Maybe it's silly with some of the vocals George does, but I think it's amazing. And Got My Mind Set on You is just a memorable classic. Yeah, he covered it, but it's such a classic. It's a song that never gets old. And yeah, it was really difficult for which one to put in solo for the top 10, but I had to put them both in the top 10 somewhere. And it gets really difficult as you go up because it shows you how great of a discography George Harrison really had. So coming in at number 10 for me is a tie between Crackerbox Palace from 33 to 3rd and Got My Mind Set on You from Cloud 9. Coming in at number 9, from All Things Must Pass, which is not only my favorite George Harrison album, I have noted that before as one of my favorite albums of all time. In my favorite albums of all time, in my top 100 favorite albums list that I did last year, it came in at number 3. It just shows you how great of an album this is because George had so many phenomenal classics on here, and it's a triple album. Some people might think it's a little bloated. I think it's perfectly fine the way it is. I love this album. This is my third favorite album of all time, just right behind Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd at number 2 and Abbey Road by the Beatles at number 1. All really close, though. My number 9, some people are definitely going to, I know a lot more people are going to have this one higher. I love it. I never get tired of it. It's one of his more popular songs. It may be his most popular song solo was, but I think it's a masterpiece. Number 9 is My Sweet Lord. I never get tired of it. I never turn it off. And, I had never understood why he got. I know, he got sued for this song because there's only. I only heard it once, like one part of the song. There are a lot of people that. Or, well, no, he got sued for this by. What was the name of that band? The Chiffons, I think, for a song called He's So Fine. A lot of people claim that George accidentally, well, it was an accident though. He, plagiarized that song for My Sweet Lord, and they kind of have the same melody. But I only remember hearing it once throughout My Sweet Lord because I listened to He's So Fine before. And I can say it kind of sounds similar, but I personally think it's a little ridiculous that he had to go to court for that. Sure, it was an accident, but I mean, it's just a great song. And who'd have thought that it would be one of his biggest songs? I mean, it's a masterpiece. Sure, maybe one of his religious songs because he was big into the Hare Krishna stuff that he was religious in. But this is such a perfect song. I absolutely love it. I never get tired of it. So coming at number 9 for me is My Sweet Lord off of All Things Must Pass. Coming at number 8 for me from Living in the Material World, the follow-up album to All Things Must Pass. Not as successful as All Things Must Pass, but a great album nonetheless. I think it's a great album. And I've always loved this song. It's a song that opens up the Living in the Material World album. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. What a gorgeous song. I mean, that is just, it's really such a beautiful song. It's just heartwarming, and I love George's vocals. I love the acoustic guitar and the slide guitar. I love the piano. I love this whole song. I love the lyrics, and the vocals are so great. And this is just a really great song. And I've always loved it. And it appears on a good majority of his greatest hits because this is a fan favorite as well. It had to make my list somewhere too because I absolutely love this song. It's just a perfect song. So coming in at number 8 for me is Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth off of Living in the Material World. A great album. Sadly, the only song from this album making my top 10, although I do like that album a lot, but when he has a bunch of great songs, it's very little to include, and only 10. It's kind of unfair. But coming at number 8 for me is Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth from Living in the Material World. Coming in at number 7 from All Things Must Pass, back to that album, you're going to see that a lot. You're going to see a lot of All Things Must Pass tracks throughout this list. And this is a song that I've always really liked, but I've grown to love it exponentially as I've gotten older. And I love the live version from the concert for Bangladesh with George and Leon Russell. I think it's absolutely incredible. And my number 7 is Beware of Darkness. I mean, when I first listened to the All Things Must Pass album, I always loved, some of the more popular tracks on there and some deep cuts. And I always liked this song, but I never liked it as much as some of the other songs I had heard prior. And then I listened. I think one day, a couple years ago, I listened to the song for the first time in a while, and I was thinking, "Wow, this is actually really great." And it's really dark. Well, I mean, Beware of Darkness, obviously the title, but no, it's actually a pretty dark song, and musically as well. I mean, I love the music throughout the song. I think it's perfect, and it's just I just think this is one, and going forward, this song has become one of George's staples, and a fan favorite amongst all George Harrison fans. And I mean, it's just a great song. I mean, what else can be said about it that hasn't been said already? So coming in at number 7 for me is "Beware of Darkness" off of "All Things Must Pass." Coming in at number 6, going to go all the way to Cloud 9 from 1987, I believe it was. I have always loved this song, and again, I wish I included more from this album on my top 10, but you can't include a lot of. I know I'm saying this a lot, but you can't include a lot of songs. I know I included a tie. If there's a tie that isn't necessary, I always put it at number 10. There's no use in putting it, number 6 or something like that. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Or at number 1, it doesn't make sense. Only at number 10. And again, only if it's necessary. And for me, it was necessary here. But number 6 is a song I've always loved from Cloud 9. That's What It Takes. I love George's vocals, and of course Jeff Lynne is on the. I believe he produced this album as well, but him and this was right around the time of Traveling Wilbury, so George and Jeff Lynne were working on this album, and I think Jeff's contribution to this album works a lot. I have a lot of respect for Jeff Lynne. I think he's an incredible musician. I love Yellow. And I think he was a perfect fit for this part because he and George were really good friends, and well, I'm sure Jeff is friends with Paul and Ringo nowadays. But this song is just so perfect. I love George's vocals as well. I love the lyrics. I love the guitar throughout the song. It's a song that I love even more as I get older. Kind of similar thing with Beware of Darkness. I love it more as I get older, as the years go on. I just love this song. And it makes me miss George even more. Well, a good majority of these songs do. But coming at number 6 for me is "That's What It Takes" from Cloud 9. Now we're down to the top 5. Coming in at number 5, again, one of his more popular songs, and a song that I've always, again, well, I've always loved the song, but again, I've loved it even more as I've gotten older. It's from "All Things Must Pass," and it's a lengthier tune, but it's just one of his best songs. Period. It's just amazing. And Isn't It a Pity? I mean, "Isn't It a Pity" is just phenomenal. I mean, I think that and especially what the Beatles were going through, because he wrote this during the time of their breakup, and especially after watching the Beatles get back on Disney Plus. I'm gonna have to, I'm probably gonna do a review on that soon. Maybe, or maybe not, but I would definitely like to talk about it. But I don't want to talk about it here. I'll talk about it on a video solo to itself. But isn't it, and especially what they were going through at that time, it makes you more emotional because well, I'm not gonna spoil some of the Get Back stuff. Only in that video I'll talk about it. But George wrote the song and along many other songs through the period of the White Album, but this song is just great. I love the orchestration of the song. I love George's vocals, and the lyrics are really heart tugging as well. Isn't it a pity? Isn't it a shame how we take each other's love? It's really lyrically pretty sad, and it's just an amazing song. And I love the orchestration at the end of the song as the song fades out. and it closes side one. I mean, side one of All Things Must Pass is perfect. I mean, you have I'd Have You Anytime, My Sweet Lord, Wah Wah, and Isn't It a Pity? I mean, that's side one. And as great as that is, that's one of the greatest album sides of all time, along with side one of Moving Pictures by Rush and side one of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. But Isn't It a Pity is just a perfect side closer, and it's just one of my favorite songs that he did. It's a very emotional song. So coming in at number five for me is Isn't It a Pity from All Things Must Pass. Coming in at number four, I'm gonna go to Somewhere in England, an album that he released in the early '80s, '81 I think it was. Not one of his more successful albums, but it's got merits. It's still a good album. But if it weren't for this song, if this song was not on that album would be one of his weaker albums because this song just takes everything to the next level. It's one of his more popular songs. It's such a great song. My number four is All Those Years Ago, a tribute to John Lennon because John Lennon passed away around this time. It was 1980 he passed away. So yeah, this album came out a year after John died, and it's a really emotional song. And I believe Paul and Ringo are I think Paul and Ringo are on this track also, or maybe they co-wrote it. I'm not sure, but I know that this was on Somewhere in England, and it's just a really emotional song. The lyrics are so great. The music is so great, and it does bring a tear to my eyes sometimes because you know we George and John and George are both no longer with us, and that makes it even more sad. But it's such a great song, and I think every George Harrison fan has to have this on their list somewhere. Or I mean, it's just a great song, and I had to have it on this list. So coming in at number four for me is All Those Years Ago from Somewhere in England. Coming in at number three, Back to All Things Must Pass. So you could tell the pattern at this point, but I just love that album. And you know, talk about how Isn't It a Pity was emotional. This song is also really emotional, and this song does bring tears to my eyes at times because I miss George a lot. I know you all do out there. For all you Beatle fans and fans of his solo work, the title track to All Things Must Pass is my number three. I mean that is just such an emotional song. For the music is pretty. The music is so gorgeous. The lyrics are really sad. You know how everything in life passes away, and Billy Preston does a pretty good job on this song too. And this is just, I mean, it's such an emotional song. It's just so good, and just like every song on this album. But this is such if Isn't It a Pity did tug your heart, I think this will drag your heart across the room because it's just a perfect song. I love it a lot. So coming in at number three for me is the title track to All Things Must Pass. What a gorgeous song, a gorgeous tearjerker. Uh, Coming in at number two, gonna go to the self-titled George Harrison album, another really great album. And I believe this is the time. This was around the time where he was. I think he married Olivia Harrison around this time, if I'm not mistaken. But another really beautiful song. I love the music. I love the lyrics to it. Number two, Blow Away. I love Blow Away. The music, again, another weird music video. He did a lot of weird music videos, kind of like Peter Gabriel. But Blow Away is just an incredible composition, and I think that it's just for sure one of his best. And well, obviously, as you can see, where it comes on the list, but it is just a fantastic work of art. I mean, I love a lot of songs on this album, but this is for sure one of his best. And there's a lot of fantastic songs on the self-titled album, but this is for sure at least at the top. And again, if there are some songs on this album that did not make the top 10 that I really wanted, but and again, it was mainly subjected to that. Almost half of half of the list was All Things Must Pass related, but Blow Away is just great. I love the lyrics. I love his vocals. I love the guitars as well. and I love the harmonied vocals at the end of the song. It's just a perfect song, and I couldn't have this list without it, so it needed to make my top 10. So coming at number 10 for me, or excuse me, coming at number 2 for me is "Blow Away" from self-titled George Harrison album from 1979, and coming in at number 1. This was always going to be my number 1. This was the easy part of this list. Back to All Things Must Pass. I mean, what can I say? It's a masterpiece. Um, Hands down, one of my favorite songs of all time. It's a song that I can listen to every day of the week for I get every day of the week for so many hours and never get tired of it. It's literally that amazing. My number 1 is "What Is Life" from All Things Must Pass. I love how addicting this song is. I love how energetic it is. I love the guitar riff. I love George's vocals. The lyrics are great. It's just it's an incredible addictive pop song. I mean, and this came out in 1970, and a great year for music, by the way. And this is for sure one of the best songs that came out of that year. It's just such a great song, and always has been a favorite of mine. And it had to make my list, and I knew it was going to be number 1. So coming in number 1 for me is "What Is Life" from All Things Must Pass. And here is my list. I will go through honorable mentions as usual. Excuse me. I always have a drink before this because I know I'm going to talk a lot, and my throat's already getting tired. And uh, it's my voice gets tired after talking for a long time. Although this video, compared to the other videos that I've done, it's not as long. Well, it depends because the video's not over yet. But we're at 22 minutes or close to it now. So I'm gonna go through his albums for honorable mentions if you haven't seen that. So here we go. So I included his first, the two before All Things Must Pass. I know a lot of people consider All Things Must Pass his debut. I consider the other two in his discography, although I don't really listen to them a lot. I don't really care for them much. So from Wonderwall Music, which was the soundtrack to the movie Wonderwall, or Wonderwall, I don't know what the full, was it called Wonderwall? I don't know, but Skiing is a really cool song. I actually really like that. It has Peter Tork from the Monkees, the late great Peter Tork, who we lost a few years ago, actually. 2 years, because I remember doing a tribute to him on this channel. It features Peter Tork from the Monkees on banjo. He played a pretty good banjo, considering the fact that he played bass. And Party Seacombe is really cool too. That's actually really cool. That has some Pink Floyd vibes. From Electronic Sound, that's kind of his. It's kind of before Lou Reed did Metal Machine music. It's fine for what it is. Under the Mercy Wall and No Time or Space. Those are the only two tracks on there. Parts of those are interesting, but I just tap out usually. And I'm not the biggest fan of electronic, experimental music like this. Except I love some stuff that David Bowie did, especially in the late '70s, and with the Berlin trilogy. But stuff like this, generally tends me to fall asleep to. I mean, I guess it's good music to fall asleep to. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but yeah, that's from Electronic Sound. From All Things Must Pass, I went through the entire stuff because how can you not? It's just a great album. I'd Have You Anytime, great song feature, or I believe Bob Dylan co-wrote that. Wawa is another great song. I really wanted Wawa in my top 10. That's another great song. And that was about Paul McCartney, because Wawa means headache. You're giving me a Wawa, giving me a headache. Because they were writing songs at each other all the time. George did that to Paul, and then uh, Paul did Too Many People to John, and then John did How Do You Sleep to Paul. So they were writing songs. Ringo was like, I'm not going to write songs at anyone. I'm just gonna, do my own thing. And you gotta respect Ringo for doing that, for not trying to, do anything wrong. He just wanted to make music. But Wawa is a really great song. If Not For You, Bob Dylan penned the song, another great song. Behind That Locked Door. Uh, did not make my top 10, but it was almost there. I love that. Let It Down was in my top 10. I love that song. I love Let It Down. It's such a great song. Run of the Mill is another one that almost made my top 10. I love that. I like the bonus track on I think it was the 2001 remastered. I have it over there in the other room. I Live For You is a bonus track. I think it was a 2001 remastered or 2000 remastered because that's also he did a different version of My Sweet Lord because he got sued for that. He did a different version. But I Live For You is really cool. Even the silly stuff like Apple Scruffs. It's silly, but I don't mind it. I do like that. I Ballad of Sir Frankie Crisp, Let It Roll. Love the melody for that song. I think that's a great song. Awaiting on You All, another religious song, but so good. I Think Love is really cool. You're getting into the weird deep cuts on here. Usually on side four, of All Things Must Pass, and then sides 5 and 6 are the Apple Jams. But I Think Love is cool. I love Art of Dying. That's a great up tempo party song featuring Phil Collins on percussion in the background. Yeah, Phil Collins before he joined Genesis, and especially before his famous solo career. So Art of Dying, Isn't It a Pity version 2 is really great too. I obviously love the version 1 more, but version 2 is no slouch. Here We Lord, another religious song. I think it's great. I think he did a really good job. I don't mind the jams, the Apple jams. I do listen. I do like listening to those. Out of the Blue is great. That's an 11-minute jam. That's a lengthy jam. For a jam, that's a really good amount of a length. It's Johnny's birthday. That's about John Lennon, obviously. They're wishing him happy birthday to John. I believe that was John's 30th birthday because he was 40 when he passed away. So yeah, it would have been his 30th birthday around this time. Plug Me In is a great jam. I love that. That's one of my favorites. I remember Jeep. I think Jeep was Eric Clapton's dog. I forgot what breed it was or what he described it as, but I remember Jeep is a really cool jam. And Thanks for the Pepperoni. Kind of a silly title, but it's such a great jam. And it's inspired. I believe that's a Chuck Berry inspired jam. But I love the All Things Must Pass album. It's a masterpiece. From Living in the Material World, another really great album. Sue Me Sue You Blues is really cool. The Light That Is Light of the World is another great song. I love the title track, Living in the Material World. That almost made my top 10. The Lord That Loves the One That Loves the Lord is a really cool song. He did a lot of religious songs around this time, but hey, that's what he liked doing. Be Here Now is really cool. I like Try Some, Buy Some. That's a really cool song. I believe him and Ronnie Spector, Phil Spector's wife, did something like that, I believe. And then The Day the World Gets Round is also really cool. And That Is All, the song that closes it. That's another really good song. From Dark Horse. Dark Horse is a pretty good album, but I like some of the other stuff he did better. I know a lot of Harrison fans consider this one of his weakest albums, and also he had a laryngitis issue around this time, so his voice is raspy on this album. I like Hari's on Tour Express. That's a really good song. So Sad is really cool. Maya Love is nice. That's a really cool song. Dark Horse, the title track is great. And Far East Man. I know Ron Wood did a version of that, which is really great. From Extra Texture, Read It All About It. That's another really good album. You is really cool. The Answers at the End is another really great song. I really like This Guitar Can't Keep From Crying. Another great song. World of Stone is another favorite of mine. Can't Stop Thinking About You is my favorite on the album. I love that. Tired of Midnight Blues, another really cool song. And His Name is Legs, ladies and gentlemen. He had kind of a weird title. His name is Legs. No one's named Legs, but it was the 70s, so you could do whatever the hell he wanted to. From 33 to Third, I love that. I'm a big fan of 33 and a Third. Woman, Don't You Cry For Me is great. Dear One, another favorite of mine. Beautiful Girl is another great song. This song, another great song. You See Yourself is another really great one. It's What You Value. True Love. I love Pure Smoky. That's a great song. And Learning How to Love You. Great album from start to finish. And so is this one, self-titled George Harrison from 1979. Love Comes to Everyone is a great song. Not Guilty is great. And in fact, he did. There was a version he did during the White Album sessions on the box set. What take was it? It was like take 109 or something. 109 takes of one song of Not Guilty, and it found a home on that album. Here Comes the Moon is great, not to be confused with Here Comes the Sun. Not as iconic, obviously, but it's still really cool. Soft Hearted Hannah is really cool. Faster is a really good song. Dark Sweet Lady is really cool. Your Love is Forever is another really good one. Soft Touch and If You Believe is another really good song. From Somewhere in England, Blood from a Clone is a really great song. Unconsciousness Rules. There are a lot of weird titles that he came up with for songs, but I think this is a really good song. Life Itself is great. Teardrops is another really great song, and Writings on the Wall is another really good song. From Gone Troppo, I'm not the biggest fan of this album. It's probably if there was an album that I would choose as my least favorite, it would probably be Gone Troppo. It's okay. Well, this is also discluding the electronic sound and Wonderwall music, excluding those two, because those are easily at the bottom. And then it would probably be Gone Troppo. It's a fine album. Wake Up My Love is okay. That's a pretty good song. That's the Way It Goes is great. That's actually a really good song. Mystical One is another really great song. Unknown Delight is another great one. And Dream Away is another really good song. From Cloud Nine. Okay, so he's back on track for this album. The title track, Cloud Nine, is fantastic. I love that. Fish on the Sand, another famous song by him. Another great song. Uh, Just for Today is another really great song. This is Love. I love Jeff Lynne's backing vocals on that song. It's another great song. I love When We Was Fab. That's another popular song from him. I love that. Devil's Radio is another great song. I grew up with a lot of these songs, listening to them a lot. Someplace Else is another really good song. Wreck of the Hesperus is a really great song. I love the music on that. And Breath Away from Heaven is really cool too. And from Brainwashed, his last album. I'm not including any of the Traveling Wilbury stuff, but I would like to mention Handle with Care, because if I included Traveling Wilbury stuff in honorable mentions, Handle with Care would probably be in my top 10. I love Handle with Care. It's such a perfect song. That would be just top 10 Traveling Wilburys. I don't know if they only made two albums. Traveling Wilburys Volume 1, Traveling Wilburys Volume 3. There was no Volume 2. Why? I have no idea. But for Brainwashed, I love Any Road. Any Road could have made my top 10. That's easily my favorite on this album. Looking for My Life is another really great song. Marwa Blues is really cool. Stuck Inside a Cloud is another great song. Run So Far is another great song. And Brainwash, the title track, is great. So those are honorable mentions for George Harrison. And let me show you my list one more time. So I'm gonna get. I don't know if you can hear Elvis in the background. He's barking. I have no idea why. He does that every day. So that is top 10 songs for George Harrison. I can't believe it's been 20 years since we lost him. That's insane. It's really sad to think that he's been gone for 20 years. But what you can do is you can listen to George's music to honor his memory, because he really did have a great solo career. And I think I grew up. The first solo career I ever heard out of the four Beatles was George, and then I discovered Paul's, and then John's, and then Ringo's, and then it's also coming up soon. This is the anniversary of John Lennon's death. 41 years. It'll be this year, because last year was the 40th anniversary of his death. Hard to believe. I could probably do a top 10 Lennon for that. That would probably be difficult. Even though sadly he never had a lot of albums. He only had I don't even think he had 10. He didn't have a lot. And that's because sadly, well, there's that one period in the late 70s where he wanted to be with his son Sean, and then he got back with Double Fantasy in 1980, and then that was it. He passed away. Sadly, it's a tragedy. But I can probably do top 10 John Lennon. That would be pretty difficult to do. So yeah, this was top 10 songs for George Harrison. Let me know what your favorite George Harrison songs are in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I would like to do a review on Get Back. I watched it all. I thought it was fantastic, but I'm probably gonna watch it again so I can get another take on it. But I think I know a lot of what I have to say if I review it in the future. So yeah, that was top 10 songs for George Harrison. So please leave a like, comment if you want, view my videos, and of course subscribe and ring the bell for daily notifications. Thanks for watching this video, guys. This has been Halbuska, signing off. Stay safe, take care.